Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Pechanga Arena in San Diego, California. And this is the first Monday Night Raw of 2024. And it was, of course, known as Day 1. And, of course, WWE, before the show, for a few weeks, they were, building up this show to feel like a premium live event with the card that they were giving us. Like, we had Rhea Ripley versus Nile for the Women's World Championship. And, of course, the World Heavyweight Championship was on the line where Seth Rollins defended the title against Drew McIntyre. And then Nia Jax versus Becky Lynch, which, of course, is meh. So WWE, made this feel like a premium live event, before going into this show. But for the first Monday Night Raw of the new year, I gotta say it was a very mediocre show in my opinion. But we had Nia Jax versus Becky Lynch, like I said. We had Jey Uso and Kofi Kingston versus Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. We had a reunion of The Miz and R-Truth. And, of course, for one night only, they reformed as Awesome Truth. Of course, this brought back, flashbacks from 2011 when, of course, they were known as that, when they were both heels. So they ended up taking on McDonagh and Dominik Mysterio. The Women's World Championship on the line, of course. Rhea Ripley defending the title against Nile. We had Zoey Stark and Shayna Baszler versus Natalya and Tegan. And the main event, of course, was Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, World Heavyweight Championship on the line. And, Triple H last week announced that a former world champion was going to appear on Monday Night Raw. And a lot of people were speculating who it could have been. A lot of people said, it could be Stone Cold Steve Austin, could be The Rock, could have been Batista, or could have been Andrade. And Andrade finished up his last match in AEW at World's End. And so a lot of people were speculating, he could be on his way back to WWE, which, in my opinion, Andrade is going to be back in WWE. I think he's going to be a part of the SmackDown roster because, of course, his wife, Charlotte Flair, is a part of the roster. So I think Andrade is coming back to WWE, and he's going to be on the SmackDown roster. Does he appear on Friday? Maybe. We have to wait and see. And, since Monday Night Raw, they called it Day 1 tonight, on SmackDown on Friday, SmackDown is going to be called New Year's Revolution because WWE ended up bringing back that name. Of course, it was a former pay-per-view name. So that's going to be taking place on Friday. But anyways, let's jump right into the review. By the way, if you guys haven't checked out my previous video, I did a movie review of The Iron Claw. So definitely check out my review of that. Saw it last night. Very good film on the Von Erich family. Has Zac Efron in it. So definitely check out my review of that. And once again, Happy New Year to all of you out there. Hope your first day of 2024 went well. And I hope you all have a good year as it progresses. But let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw, Day 1, opened up with Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax. And I'm like, when this match started, I'm like, oh, great. WWE wants us to take our bathroom breaks early here. How could you have the first match of the night be Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax? Like, who cares? But this match was mediocre, in my opinion. But Nia Jax, she was decent here. But the match ended up getting underway. Nia Jax ended up shoving Becky Lynch back. Becky Lynch came back and ended up slapping Nia. The crowd was behind Becky here, which the crowd in San Diego tonight, they were hot at points in the show. So Becky ended up going for the manhandle slam, but Nia Jax swatted Becky into the corner. Becky then elbowed Nia Jax and springboarded off the ropes, but Nia Jax caught Becky. Nia Jax ended up going for the Samoan drop, but Becky ended up sliding off of Jax, and she ended up connecting with an enziguri to Nia Jax. Becky Lynch ended up charging at Nia Jax, but Nia Jax scooped her up and slammed her down. Becky pulled herself up into the corner, and Nia Jax charged to flatten Becky with an avalanche, and that led to Becky falling to the canvas. So Nia Jax ended up hitting the ropes to deliver the elbow drop to Becky. She then started taunting Becky, ended up saying that Becky has been waiting 5 years for this match. And of course, it's been 5 years since Nia Jax ended up busting Becky's face. So Becky ended up fighting back with a jawbreaker to Nia Jax, and she ended up booing Nia back. Becky Lynch ended up sidestepping an avalanche, and she started delivering some punches to Nia Jax. Becky ended up getting open window and started unloading with some strikes to Nia. Becky Lynch then hit the ropes, and she ended up avoiding a clothesline from Nia Jax, but Nia Jax ended up scooping Becky up, and she locked in a bear hug on Becky. So Becky ended up wiggling out of the bear hug. She ended up going for a sunset flip, but Nia Jax did not go down. Nia Jax tried to counter with the leg drop, but Becky ended up avoiding the leg drop. Becky then connected with a rolling neck snapper. She ended up going for the cover, and Nia Jax ended up kicking out. So Becky ended up hitting a running forearm in the corner. She was setting up for the Beck Exploder, but Nia Jax ended up elbowing out of that. So Nia Jax ended up bouncing Becky off the turnbuckle, and Becky ended up quickly booting Nia Jax in her jaw. She then climbed to the second rope. She ended up hitting Nia Jax with the Diamond Dust. So Nia Jax didn't even go down. Becky Lynch ended up drop kicking Nia into the corner. She then charged at Nia, but Nia ended up putting Becky on the apron. Becky then forearmed Nia back. She ended up climbing to the top rope, and she ended up taking out Nia Jax with a missile drop kick. So Nia ended up going off her feet. So Becky ended up going for the cover, and Nia Jax kicked out at 2. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. And at points in the show, it went to, the picture-in-picture. So we saw what was happening during the commercial. So then, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Becky was in charge of the match. She ended up knocking Nia Jax back. She ended up hitting a merry-go-round for a near fall. So Becky ended up getting fired up. She approached Nia Jax. Nia Jax ended up pulling Becky throw first into the middle rope. Nia Jax ended up going to the apron. She ended up trying to go for a leg drop, but Becky Lynch moved out of the way. Nia Jax ended up grabbing, her leg in pain. So Becky ended up connecting with a baseball slide. She then jumped off the apron, but Nia Jax ended up punching Becky in her midsection out of midair. Nia Jax ended up standing up for a right hand to Becky's face. Becky moved out of the way. Nia Jax then ended up hitting the ring post. Nia then ended up swatting Becky Lynch back. She ended up going for the cannonball into the barricade, but Becky moved out of the way. So Becky ended up getting into the ring. She was looking for Nia Jax to get counted out, but Nia Jax got back up, and she got back into the ring as the ref counted to 9. So Becky ended up coming off the top rope with a diving leg drop. She ended up going for the cover, to which Nia Jax ended up kicking out. Becky then quickly transitioned into this armor. So Nia Jax was shown screaming in pain, and she imagined to roll Becky up, and then Becky ended up kicking out. Becky then applied a cross arm breaker, but Nia Jax powered Becky up, and Nia Jax delivered a sit-out powerbomb. She ended up going for the cover, and Becky ended up kicking out, to which that pissed off Nia Jax. We had Becky Lynch end up climbing to the second rope. She ended up going for a Superman handle slam to Nia Jax, but Nia Jax ended up fighting out of it. Nia Jax ended up getting Becky on her shoulders, and Nia Jax ended up hitting a Super Samoan drop from the top. She ended up going for the cover, and Becky ended up kicking out. And Nia Jax was just very stunned at that. So Nia Jax ended up grabbing Becky by her hair, started smashing her face into the canvas. Nia Jax ended up stepping on Becky's midsection. She climbed to the second rope for the Annihilator. Becky Lynch popped up, and she shoved Nia Jax down onto the apron. So Becky had Nia Jax tied up in the ropes. She started unloading on Nia Jax with some strikes. Becky ended up going to the second rope. She ended up going for the diving leg drop, but Nia Jax ended up flattening Becky with a right hand to her face. So, Becky went right into that out of midair. Becky then fell back first onto the canvas. Nia Jax ended up climbing to the second rope, and she delivered the Annihilator to Becky. She ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Nia Jax ended up winning the match. And I'm like, who cares? Who cares? Like I said, Nia Jax did decent here, but did you all care about this match? Really? This is what you have to open the show? Like I said, WWE just wanted people to go take their bathroom breaks early. But post-match, Becky Lynch was shown she had blood coming out of her mouth. So Nia Jax then celebrated her win in the ring, and that was that. But Becky having that blood coming out of her mouth was from that right hand from Nia Jax to her face. But overall, very mediocre match it was. And then we had Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes came out. Of course, everybody going, whoa! So we got the first whoa of the year. So Cody got a big ovation from the San Diego crowd. We had the crowd end up chanting for Cody. Cody got on the mic. He ended up pondering momentarily. He ended up asking San Diego. He did his whole shtick. He was like, what do you want to talk about? Cody ended up saying that he has the privilege of being the first superstar to come to this ring and officially welcome you to the day one episode of Monday Night Raw. Cody wanted to say that it's a new year. He ended up saying people like to talk about their goals for 2024. He ended up saying that he is a little stuck. He ended up saying what he's gotten stuck on is Shinsuke Nakamura. If you remember 2 weeks ago, Shinsuke ended up, reading The American Nightmare Before Christmas. Just talking about Cody Rhodes. And then Cody ended up fording Nakamura backstage, and it led into the arena. So we had the crowd end up booing Nakamura's name. Cody ended up saying that Nakamura is a force to be reckoned with in the ring. He ended up saying that he was expecting something a little more sophisticated because of his rendition of The American Nightmare Before Christmas. He ended up saying that he's not stuck on Nakamura because of the things he said about his family, about Cody's family. He ended up saying that comes with the territory. Cody ended up saying that he's not stuck on Nakamura because he tried to blind him with poison mist. Cody ended up saying that he has fought blind and fought just fine. Cody ended up saying that he is stuck on Nakamura simply because this should be over. Cody then ended up saying that this should be over and that he is going to give Nakamura the opportunity to finish it tonight. He ended up saying that Nakamura can bring his poison mist and words. He ended up saying this ends right now. So then Nakamura appeared on the Titantron. He ended up saying that Cody's name in Sing Song. So Nakamura ended up saying that he never thought it would be so easy to get into Cody's mind and become the author of his final chapter. So Nakamura ended up saying that he whispered the plot into Cody's ear and pushed his character to the brink page by page. Nakamura ended up saying that he blinded Cody, so he cannot see the ending. He ended up saying that the story does not end tonight. Nakamura ended up saying that he wants to give Cody one more week to dream. Nakamura ended up saying that he will become what Cody could never be. Nakamura ended up saying that he will finish Cody's story and close his book. So then Nakamura spit the poison mist into the camera. Cody was shown put his head down in anger, and he was waiting to be blindsided by Nakamura. To which Nakamura did not even come out there. So pretty much that was basically that. Overall, just a very, okay segment here with Cody. This whole Cody Rhodes and Nakamura feud is still going. So, looks like we're going to be getting a rematch between Cody and Nakamura, next week on Raw. And then we had Kofi Kingston and Jey Uso versus Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. And this was a okay match here. Of course, this came to play because, 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, Jey Uso ended up saving Kofi from Kofi getting beaten down by Imperium. Because Kofi, he was dressed up as Santa Claus. They called him Kofi Claus. And we had Kofi end up giving Imperium coal. So pretty much that was how it came to be. And then Jey ended up defeating Kaiser after, Kofi, as Kofi Claus, ended up taking out Vinci, which that was all 2 weeks ago. But the match got on the way. Kofi ended up starting off against Giovanni Vinci. Vinci ended up quickly applying a hammerlock before wrenching Kofi's arm. Kofi ended up twisting out, and he ended up taking Vinci down. He ended up connecting with a splash. He ended up going for the cover, to which Vinci ended up kicking out. Vinci ended up kneeing Kofi, and he had to whip Kofi into the ropes. Vinci ended up ducking a clothesline, and he clobbered Kofi with a running cross body block. Vinci ended up delivering some forearms to Kofi's chest in the corner. And then Vinci tagged in Kaiser. Kofi ended up fighting out of the corner. Kaiser then ended up kneeing Kofi in his midsection to keep him down. Kaiser then whipped Kofi into the corner. And then Kofi ended up knocking Vinci off the apron. Kofi ended up trying to boo Kaiser. Kaiser ended up blocking it, ended up attacking Kofi. Kaiser then started taunting the crowd. He ended up stopping Kofi in the corner. Kaiser ended up sending Kofi into the opposite corner. And then Kofi springboarded off the middle turnbuckle with a twisted missile dropkick to Kaiser. Kaiser then quickly rolled out of the ring to recover. Kofi then ended up hitting the ropes for a dive, but Vinci ended up sweeping Kofi's feet. Kaiser then ended up sending Kofi shoulder first into the ring post, and then Vinci ended up tagging in. And so both Vinci and Kaiser end up sandwiching Kofi in the corner with some drop kicks, and then Monday Night Raw with the commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Vinci ended up hitting some kicks to Kofi. Kofi ended up fighting back. He ended up reversing the whip into the corner. Vinci scaled the ropes, and he ended up diving for a crossbody. But Kofi ended up drop kicking Vinci out of midair. So Kofi ended up crawling over. He ended up reaching to make the tag to Jey. Jey hit the ring, but the referee ended up stepping up to Jey, and the ref ended up calling for the bell because apparently Kofi, delivered that drop kick to Vinci, and it hit Vinci in his lower chin. And I think Vinci's head bounced off the canvas. So because of that, the ref ended up stopping the match. So Kofi and Jey Uso won the match by referee stoppage. We had a doctor that was in the ring that was checking on Vinci. Jey did not look happy about the outcome of the match here. So Michael Cole and Wade Barrett end up putting over the health and well-being of the superstars, which that was, very good to do. So it looked like Giovanni Vinci was able to walk off, and he was holding the back of his head because, of course, when Kofi delivered that drop kick, Vinci's head bounced off the canvas. So pretty much that was that. It was a very rough landing. But overall, okay match it was. And then we had Miz TV. Yeah, Miz ended up coming out. Yeah, such a great first hour this was. This first hour was very mediocre. So Miz ended up welcoming everyone to the most must-see WWE talk show in history. Of course, welcome to Miz TV. Miz ended up saying that this is the first ever day one edition of Miz TV. So it's going to be good. He ended up saying there are rumors about a former WWE champion showing up. Miz ended up saying that he has his speculations and that he has to get to his guests since they're begging to be on his show. So Miz ended up saying that his guests on Miz TV are the self-proclaimed most dominant faction in the company, the Judgment Day. So the Judgment Day's music ended up hitting, and then it cut into R-Truth's theme. So R-Truth came out. Of course, R-Truth was wearing his Judgment Day shirt. It had, of course, the names of the Judgment Day. And, of course, his name was duct taped onto the bottom of the shirt, which is funny. So R-Truth ended up greeting San Diego. He ended up asking them, "What's up?" So Miz ended up saying that this is the most likable member of the Judgment Day. And that led to Miz ended up asking, where is the rest of Judgment Day? R-Truth ended up saying they thought they were just behind him. So Miz ended up asking if he's seeing invisible people again. So R-Truth ended up asking if Little Jimmy is here. So, yeah, you mentioned Little Jimmy again. It's been a while since we heard R-Truth say, "Oh, Little Jimmy." So Miz ended up saying that he's not here. R-Truth ended up saying that he's been waiting all year to say this. All rise for the Judgment Day. So Miz ended up telling R-Truth, "Oh, that works better than when Damian Priest says it." So Miz then ended up asking what R-Truth's whole role is in the Judgment Day. R-Truth ended up telling the Miz, "Oh, that's a great question." He ended up calling the Miz Renee, which was funny. So R-Truth ended up saying that he has a lot of jobs. Right now, it's PR. Yesterday, it was executive work. He ended up saying that he wants to make Judgment Day likable to everyone. You gotta love R-Truth. He's just entertaining and funny. He ended up calling the Miz Renee. Of course, R-Truth taking a shot at AEW there because Renee Paquette. So Jane McDonagh ended up coming out alongside Dominik Mysterio. McDonagh ended up saying that this has to end tonight. He ended up saying that R-Truth is not the AV guy or anything for Judgment Day. So then Dominik ended up going to speak, and of course, we got the crowd and the piped in boos, ringing out. And I'm like, oh, we're still getting piped in boos for Dominik here. Did Kevin Dunn actually leave? Because, yeah, news broke out. It was yesterday saying that, Kevin Dunn is done with WWE. Little pun there. But he's been there for 40 years. And, of course, I think his last day was yesterday. So the whole article came out. So Kevin Dunn is no longer with WWE. But we could have our issues with Kevin Dunn. yes, for one, he did bring good to WWE. But, you got to give credit to, Kevin Dunn. He's done some, awful shit, with the whole zooms in, randomly, zooming in. You remember, Bobby Lashley and Leo Rush, when Leo Rush was at the company, Bobby Lashley doing his, posing, and you have a stupid camera, pointing at Bobby Lashley's ass when he bent it down. I'm like, we didn't need to see that. You tell that was all Kevin Dunn doing. So yeah, Kevin Dunn, he's had some good stuff. He has good stuff. He has bad stuff. But we could all say fuck Kevin Dunn, for the shit that he's done, the bad things. But you got to give credit to Kevin Dunn. He was with the company for 40 years, and you could tell that when with Vince McMahon no longer a part of creative and Triple H is now head of creative, it was at that time for Kevin Dunn to leave, because Kevin Dunn was Vince's right-hand guy. So now that Vince is no longer there, we all knew that Kevin Dunn was probably going to be the last to go. But yeah, still piped and booze for Dominik. He got booed in his hometown of San Diego. So Dominik ended up shouting that the Judgment Day are the most dominant faction in the company. R-Truth then ended up saying, this is what he's talking about. Dominik getting booed in his own hometown. R-Truth ended up saying that McDonagh isn't even in the Judgment Day. He ended up saying that he lost the Loser Leads Judgment Day match. Miz ended up asking what McDonagh is even doing out here. So Dominik ended up going to speak. The crowd ended up booing him again. Of course, the pipe and booze. Dominik then tried to shout that The Miz spent the last year, 2023, on his back, losing to Gunther. So Miz ended up saying that 2023 wasn't great for him, but he's more relevant than ever. He ended up saying that he fought through adversity and is a main event caliber performer. And that's funny. Really? Miz is a main event caliber performer? What? So Miz ended up saying that the only moment he has of Dominik is him getting spanked by his daddy, Rey Mysterio. So he ended up saying that Dominik was also dragged around by his mommy. He ended up saying that Dominik also got whooped around the country on the WWE Holiday Tour by CM Punk. Dominik then ended up trying to speak, but of course, booze and pipe and booze once again. So Dominik was going to continue Miz's losing streak into 2024 with him and JD McDonagh facing Miz and R-Truth right now. So Miz ended up asking if the people want to see it, to which the crowd ended up cheering for that. So Miz ended up saying that this is a year of comebacks. It'll be Judgment Day versus a reunited, awesome Truth. So R-Truth was confused. He ended up asking if he's teaming with either Dominik or McDonagh. So Miz then explained to R-Truth, and R-Truth ended up thinking that is a strange bedfellows match. So R-Truth ended up saying that he'll follow Dominik's lead. And then he winked at Dominik. So McDonagh had enough of this. He ended up charging, but R-Truth ducked. Miz then clotheslined McDonagh over the top rope. Dominik then washed from the ring. R-Truth then put his arm around Dominik, but Dominik immediately got out of the ring. And pretty much that was basically how the segment ended. But overall, this whole segment was very funny. It could have been a little corny. I know some people would have found this segment corny, but I thought it was funny. R-Truth is just, very funny. I laughed a few times during the segment. Overall, you gotta give a hand to R-Truth. And then we went to the match, the tag team match. Awesome Truth. Miz and R-Truth versus Dominik Mysterio and JD McDonagh. And this was a mid-match, in my opinion. I mean, it was good to see Miz and R-Truth reunite as Awesome Truth just for one night. But we had Miz end up hooking Dominik's head. He ended up going for a tag, and R-Truth was standing in the neutral corner. So the referee didn't accept the tag because R-Truth wasn't holding the tag rope. So JD McDonagh tagged in. He ended up taking Miz down, and Miz ended up kicking out. Miz ended up flipping through a back suplex. He hit the ropes for a run in Hurricanrana. Miz then hooked McDonagh's head. He pointed to R-Truth, who was in the correct corner. So R-Truth ended up tagging in. He ended up taking McDonagh down before he ended up dropping a leg. McDonagh then reversed the whip it to the corner, but R-Truth ended up elbowing McDonagh back. R-Truth then to McDonagh. R-Truth ended up doing a split, and he avalanched McDonagh in the corner. He ended up going for the cover, and McDonagh ended up kicking out. R-Truth ended up going for a tag to Dominik, and he looked confused as to why Dominik wouldn't tag him, which it was funny. So Miz looked all confused in the corner. McDonagh then took R-Truth down, started choking him on the middle rope. Dominik tagged in, and he ended up hitting the 619 to R-Truth. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Miz ended up hitting McDonagh with his padded quarter clothesline. Miz then big booed Dominik on the apron. He then knocked McDonagh back, ended up hitting a springboard crossbody block, to which he ended up going for the cover, and McDonagh ended up kicking out. So once again, R-Truth was in the Judgment Day's corner. So Dominik ended up telling Truth to go away. Miz then ended up hitting a springboard bulldog. He ended up going for the cover on McDonagh, but Dominik broke up the pin. Miz ended up getting Dominik out of the ring, and he ended up turned into a headbutt, a vicious headbutt from McDonagh. R-Truth then blind tagged in on McDonagh, and McDonagh started playing along. He ended up holding Miz up for R-Truth to strike Miz. So R-Truth ended up apologizing to Miz. Miz then moved out of the way. R-Truth ended up punching McDonagh. Truth ended up helping McDonagh up, and McDonagh ended up shoving Truth into the Miz. And Miz ended up giving McDonagh the skull crushing finale. Miz went for the cover, and there you go. The Miz and R-Truth, Awesome Truth, end up winning the match. But overall, thought this was a very, mid-match here. But, you had the goofiness of R-Truth here. And I'd say it was pretty cool seeing Awesome Truth reunite just for one night. And then we saw Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. They end up walking to a club, and they end up stepping into a VIP area to confront the new women's tag team champions, Kayden Carter and Katana Chance. Now, if you remember 2 weeks ago on Raw, it was Katana Chance and Kayden Carter versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven for the women's tag team championship. Katana Chance and Kayden Carter end up defeating Chelsea Green and Piper Niven to become the new women's tag team champions, which I really like because Katana Chance and Kayden Carter, they are a legit tag team. And hopefully, with them being the women's tag team champions, WWE could, lay out some challengers for them and give Katana Chance and Kayden Carter, a big push now that they're the women's tag team champions. So Kayden Carter ended up telling Chelsea Green and Piper Niven not to kill their vibe. So Katana Chance ended up saying that they're going to be fighting champs because Chelsea Green was like, oh, we're going to go to Nick Aldis and have him, give us our rematch for the women's tag team championships. So that's when Katana Chance ended up saying that they're going to be fighting champions. And tonight, it's all about them. And so we had, I think it was Katana Chance ended up throwing a drink at Chelsea Green. And pretty much that was basically that. Very corny, this was. So then we had Ivy Nile versus Rhea Ripley. Women's World Championship on the line. Rhea Ripley defend the title. Before the match, we had a promo from Rhea Ripley where she kept saying that 2023 was the year she and the Judgment Day took over Monday Night Raw. She kept saying anyone who dared to step in her path was eradicated. Rhea ended up saying that as the calendar flips to 2024, another fool thinks they can step up to her. She kept saying that Ivy Nile will discover what every other woman on the roster knows, that this is her division, this is Rhea's division. She kept saying that Ivy Nile is nothing in her world. So now we went to the match, which this was a very good match here. Ivy Nile, she did a very good job here in the match. WWE made us believe that Ivy Nile was at points going to defeat Rhea Ripley and become the new Women's World Champion. But Ivy Nile has potential to be a future Women's World Champion. So the match ended up getting underway. Both Nile and Ripley end up tussling. Rhea Ripley ended up powering Ivy Nile down onto her face. Rhea Ripley started taunting her. Ivy Nile ended up lifting Rhea Ripley onto her shoulders. Rhea Ripley ended up quickly elbowing Ivy Nile and slid off. She ended up kicking Ivy Nile in the back of the knee to take her down. Rhea Ripley then ended up hitting a basement drop kick to Ivy Nile's head. Rhea Ripley ended up powering Nile up and sent her into the corner. Nile ended up going for a slingshot over Rhea, and we had Ivy end up laying on Rhea Ripley. Ivy Nile ended up blocking a boot from Rhea Ripley and punched her. Rhea Ripley ended up reversing the whip into the opposite corner, but Ivy ended up booting Rhea back. Rhea ended up quickly putting her on the apron, and Ivy ended up forearming Rhea back. Ivy ended up going to the top rope for a crossbody block, and she ended up going for the cover, to which Rhea Ripley ended up kicking out. Rhea Ripley quickly popped up and booted Ivy down. Rhea started talking trash to Ivy and started clubbing her back. Rhea ended up talking trash. She ended up sending Ivy into the ropes, but Ivy ended up taking Rhea out with a run her Karana. Rhea ended up going for a kick, and Ivy ended up blocking that, and she ended up slamming Rhea down. Rhea ended up getting out of the ring to recover, and that was when Monday Night Raw went to the commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Rhea Ripley was in control of the match. She was digging an elbow into Ivy Nile's ribs, and she was kitching in the seated abdominal stretch. Ivy Nile started fighting up. She started punching Rhea Ripley, but Rhea Ripley ended up drop kicking Ivy Nile out of the ring. Rhea ended up checking her mouth for cuts, and she ended up going to the outside. Rhea ended up going for an electric chair facebuster onto the apron, but Ivy Nile ended up getting out of that. Ivy Nile ended up grabbing Rhea in a waistlock, and you just heard Rhea Ripley shout, "Oh shit," which of course they bleeped shit on TV. And Ivy Nile delivered a German suplex to Rhea Ripley on the floor. Nice German suplex on the floor to Rhea Ripley. Ivy Nile then ended up kicking Rhea Ripley as she ended up getting to the ring, and she ended up hitting a spin kick to Rhea's face. Ivy Nile then connected with a head scissors takeover, and the crowd here was getting behind Ivy Nile, which is great. Ivy Nile ended up kicking Rhea Ripley in the corner. She ended up hitting a leg lariat, and she ended up going for the cover, to which Rhea ended up kicking out. Ivy Nile then ended up hooking a front face lock, but Rhea Ripley ended up fighting out of that. Ivy Nile then fought back with a DDT. She ended up going for the cover, to which Rhea ended up kicking out. We had Ivy Nile ended up flipping through a back suplex, and Rhea ended up headbutting Ivy Nile down. She ended up going for the top. She ended up going to the top rope for a missile drop kick, and she ended up going for the cover, and Ivy Nile ended up kicking out. Rhea then ended up setting up for the riptide, but Ivy Nile ended up sliding through, ended up kicking Rhea in her ear. So Ivy Nile ended up hitting a snap fireman's carry slam. She ended up going for the cover, to which Rhea ended up kicking out. Ivy Nile ended up pulling Rhea up, but Rhea ended up fighting back. She ended up smashing her face on her knee. So Rhea Ripley ended up crushing Ivy Nile with a lariat. Rhea then powered Ivy Nile up. She ended up slamming her down onto her face. She ended up going for the cover, to which Ivy Nile ended up kicking out. You had Ivy Nile end up kicking away at Rhea Ripley. Ivy Nile ended up taking Rhea Ripley down after a flurry of kicks to her chest. Ivy Nile went to the top rope. She dove off the top rope. And then you saw Rhea Ripley headbutting Ivy Nile out of midair. Rhea Ripley ended up kneeing Ivy Nile, and she connected with the riptide. So Rhea Ripley ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Rhea Ripley ended up winning the match, retaining the Women's World Championship. And there was a point that I forgot to mention where Ivy Nile ended up bouncing Rhea Ripley's head off the turnbuckle, and she ended up hitting a German suplex off the second rope to Rhea Ripley. So she went for the cover, and Rhea Ripley kicked out. That German suplex spot off the second rope, that was nasty. But overall, good match this was. Ivy Nile was great here. The crowd was getting behind her. And I like what they're doing with Ivy Nile and the Creed brothers. You know, WWE is trying to get the Creed brothers over, and the crowd was, you know, behind them. And I hope the crowd, when the Creed brothers, you know, have, you know, more matches, they get behind them even more. They're going to be over. Same thing that I would hope that they do for Ivy Nile. We saw it right here tonight. You know, let's get the crowd behind the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile. But overall, very good match it was between Rhea Ripley and Ivy Nile. And then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had the announcement of a former world champion or former WWE champion returning. Now, Triple H, of course, went on social media, announced that a former champion is going to return at day one on Monday Night Raw. And a lot of people were speculating. A lot of people were like, oh, it could be Stone Cold Steve Austin. Could be The Rock. Could be Batista. But what did we get? We had Jinder Mahal. Yes, Jinder Mahal ended up coming out. And the crowd was not happy about that. I'm like, who the fuck cares about Jinder Mahal? The guy is boring. So Jinder Mahal got on the mic. He kept saying that they have some audacity, that the crowd has some audacity, being upset about the modern day Maharaja make his return. Man, when he said the modern day Maharaja, it makes me remember when Paul Heyman did that on the mic, where he ended up saying the modern day Maharaja. that was funny. So he ended up saying thousands have competed in the ring, and only 50 have been WWE champions, and he's one of them. Yeah, we all want to forget him as WWE champion. Jinder Mahal was one of the worst WWE champions of all time. He really was. He almost killed SmackDown in 2017 with him as a WWE champion. Yeah, we all want to forget that. So Jinder Mahal ended up saying that he's a past and future WWE champion. No, we don't want to see you as a WWE champion ever again. That whole shit was fucking awful when he was champion. He kept saying that the only thing disappointing is what has become of the once great nation of the United States of America. He kept saying that it's disgusting. He kept saying, is this unity? And that the people have never been more divided. He kept saying that their politics and social media are all the same with ignorance and misinformation. So the crowd was chanting USA. Mahal ended up telling the crowd to shut their mouths. He kept saying that this country was once a superpower. Now it's a joke. Jinder Mahal ended up saying that he will unify and unite them. So Mahal started speaking in his native tongue, and he kept saying, finally, they're united on one thing. He kept saying they booed their national anthem in Punjabi. And they boo him because he looks and speaks differently. He kept saying, unlike the Iron Sheik and other superstars that have exposed America, he is intelligent. He kept saying that he speaks the truth. Mahal ended up saying that he will speak in Punjabi and tell them what the entire world thinks of them. Now, I think Jinder Mahal, being furious about all this, he should have just done, remember what he used to do? He used to do Shansi. Yeah, we all want to forget about that. Yeah, he used to do Shanti. Shitty. Yeah. And then, of course, we had, if you smell what the Rock is cooking. And San Diego became unglued as the Rock ended up walking onto the stage. The Rock got into the ring. He posed on the turnbuckles, did his arm raises. We had Rocky Chanson picking up from the crowd. It was electric. It was thunderous. So Rock then stood in the ring across from Jinder Mahal. The Rock then pointed at Jinder Mahal. He kept saying, you are in trouble tonight. He kept saying that Jinder Mahal was right about one thing. He kept saying Mahal is not the Iron Sheik. Because the Rock ended up saying that he knew and loved the Iron Sheik. And that everyone loved the Iron Sheik. He had telling Mahal, if the Iron Sheik were here right now, he'd say, oh, Rock, Bubba, who is this no good, dirty, son of a bitch, jabroni bastard? Which, that made me laugh. So Jinder Mahal ended up saying that it's Finn the Rock is here, since he appears anytime the WWE Universe is insulted. He kept saying that the Rock is the people's champion, the champion of these jingostic people. Mahal ended up saying that he'd be ashamed to represent these people. The Rock ended up saying that he's not ashamed, and he's damn proud to be the people's champion. And The Rock ended up saying that he is damn proud to be an American. The Rock then ended up saying that he is especially damn proud to say, finally, The Rock has come back to San Diego. So the crowd ended up roaring at The Rock making that. So The Rock ended up saying that Jinder Mahal can run his mouth about the truth. And they don't boo Mahal because of how he looks, talks, and speaks Punjabi. They boo him. So Rock ended up stopping to talk to Iron Sheik in heaven. And he ended up saying that they boo Mahal because he's the biggest asshole walking God's green earth. And that was all uncensored. They did not censor that, which was great. So Jinder Mahal angrily stared at The Rock. The Rock ended up saying that he's familiar with Mahal's resting bitch face. But really, it's a raging asshole face. So yeah, The Rock just gave you a new saying for people that get angry and they stare at them. Oh, it's a raging asshole face. So Rock ended up saying that Jinder Mahal is angry because no one likes him and that he's not funny. He kept saying that if Jinder were one of The Rock's movies, he'd be Baywatch. Of course, Baywatch had The Rock in it and Zac Efron, which I heard it was a terrible movie. Have not seen it, but heard it was terrible. You know, if I want to watch Baywatch, I would rather watch the original series with David Hasselhoff. I mean, it was a childhood favorite of mine. You know, we did not watch Baywatch for the acting. But Baywatch is a fun show. You know, it's very 90s as well. So Jinder Mahal ended up saying that he's never seen it. So The Rock ended up saying if that's true. So Mahal went to answer, and you hear The Rock go, "It doesn't matter if you didn't see Baywatch." So he ended up saying that the only thing that matters is Mahal got the gall to actually say America is a joke. He ended up saying that it isn't a joke to him or the people here at home. So we had The Rock end up saying that it's not a joke that Jinder can come out and run the country down. It's freedom of speech, but he can't do it free of consequence from The Rock. So Jinder Mahal ended up saying that he's the modern day Maharaja. The Rock ended up saying that he knows that Jinder is the modern day Maharaja. But from this day forward, he'll be the day one douchebag. So we had the crowd chanting day one douchebag to Jinder. So The Rock ended up saying that the people just gave him an idea. And we had The Rock end up saying, oh, on one side of the arena will chant day one, and the other side will chant douchebag. So we had the crowd just chanting day one douchebag, day one douchebag. This went on for maybe like 5 minutes. So The Rock ended up saying they have a special gift for Jinder. He ended up saying since he loves the national anthem, he'll sing him a verse. So The Rock then ended up singing, "And the rocket's red glare. San Diego is aware that you are jacked as hell, but your balls still aren't there." So Rock then continued singing as Jinder Mahal was not impressed with that. So The Rock sang, "You're an angry, toxic douchebag who clearly has no class. So you've left The Rock no choice but to whoop your candy ass." So then Jinder Mahal cut The Rock off. Jinder Mahal started punching The Rock to the corner. He started stomping away at The Rock. The Rock then popped out of the corner and started punching away at Mahal. Rock then connected with a spine buster, and he ended up standing at his shoulders. Of course, this is vintage classic Rock here. Rock then connected with the people's elbow to Jinder. And then Jinder Mahal rolled out of the ring. Rock took off his belt, and he whipped Mahal. The Rock then grabbed the mic, and he ended up saying, "San Diego, I love you, and Happy New Year." He ended up saying tonight, after all this ass kicking, he's going out in San Diego. He ended up saying, "Oh, I'm a little hungry." He ended up saying that The Rock is going to get something to eat. He ended up saying when he goes out to eat in San Diego, should The Rock sit in a booth at the bar, or should The Rock sit at the head of the table? Now, look at that. Head of the table. In reference to the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. So, what this might be, maybe a potential Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. And Cody Rhodes versus Roman is not going to happen. And jokingly, Cody Rhodes' story looks like it's never going to get finished if this is official for Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. So The Rock ended up saying that he loves San Diego. And he goes, of course, "If you smell what The Rock is cooking." So The Rock then posed and he walked up the ramp. And that was how the segment ended. But overall, this segment, it went from awful with Jinder Mahal coming out there a former champion, coming out there, delivering a boring promo, saying, oh, you know, I was a past and going to be a future WWE champion. Yeah. Never see that happen again. We don't want to see Jinder Mahal as champion ever again. So we went from that to great. This being a great segment with The Rock coming out there. And it was super fun. You know, the crowd just roared when he came out. So, and then, of course, she sit at the head of the table. You know, the reference to the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. This could be a potential WrestleMania match here at WrestleMania with The Rock and Roman Reigns. But match happens, you know, which it's going to be, it sounds like money. So then we have Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark versus Tegan Nox and Natalya. And this was boring, in my opinion. So Natalya started off against Zoey Stark. Natalya ended up quickly taking Zoey Stark down, spiked Zoey Stark on her tailbone. Tegan Nox then tagged in and attacked Zoey Stark. Natalya was then tagged back in. Zoey Stark ended up sweeping Natalya's legs. Shayna Baszler then blind tagged in. Baszler took Natalya down, and she ended up going for the cover, to which Natalya ended up kicking out. And then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Natalya ended up taking in Tegan Nox. Tegan Nox then clotheslined Shayna Baszler and knocked Zoey Stark off the apron. So Tegan Nox ended up pinning Baszler with a pair of clotheslines and a running uppercut on Zoey Stark. Tegan Nox then headbutted Shayna Baszler and ended up pinning a front suplex. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell were watching the match from backstage. And clearly, these are women that want the Women's Tag Team Championship. You know, they want to face Kayden Carter and Katana Chance. So, at the end of the match, we had Shayna Baszler end up hitting Tegan Nox with a German suplex. Zoey Stark followed up with a Z360 on Tegan Nox. So there you go. Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark ended up winning the match. Overall, just a terrible, boring match. And then we saw what was going to be scheduled for next week's Raw. It's going to be in Portland. We're going to see the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Kayden Carter and Katana Chance versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Rematch for the Women's Tag Team Championship. So Chelsea Green and Piper Niven are getting. And of course, CM Punk is going to be on Monday Night Raw next week. So that's something to look forward to. So that was all announced for next week's Monday Night Raw in Portland. Main event, Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Of course, with Seth Rollins at the crowd going, whoa. First one of the new year here. And this was a good match here. This was a very good match. We had Rollins quickly stunning McIntyre with a big boot. Rollins started punching away at McIntyre and backed him up. McIntyre ended up kicking Rollins in his midsection, started punching away at him. McIntyre ended up sending Rollins into the ropes. So Rollins ended up sending McIntyre over the top rope. Rollins jumped off the ring steps with a flying forearm to McIntyre. McIntyre quickly fought back. He bounced Rollins off the commentary table and slammed him onto it. McIntyre then ended up going for an inverted Alabama slam, but Rollins ended up fighting out of it. Rollins then grabbed the ropes and he knocked McIntyre away. Rollins then ended up going into the ring. He ended up going for a suicide dive, but McIntyre caught Rollins and he ended up delivering a overhead belly-to-belly suplex to Rollins on the floor. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Rollins and McIntyre were exchanging chops to each other. McIntyre ended up managing to take Rollins down, started punching away at him. Rollins got to his feet. He ended up punching back at McIntyre. McIntyre then reversed the whip and connected with a backbreaker to Rollins. He ended up going for the cover, to which Rollins ended up kicking out. McIntyre ended up getting Rollins in position for the white noise. He climbed up to the second rope. Rollins fought out. He ended up setting McIntyre up for a buckle bomb, but Rollins' back ended up giving out. McIntyre ended up setting up for a power bomb, and Rollins countered that with a Hurricanrana. McIntyre ended up charging at Rollins, but Rollins ended up having McIntyre go shoulder first into the ring post. McIntyre then fell out of the ring, and he landed at ringside. Rollins ended up hitting the ropes. He ended up hitting a somersault senton on McIntyre. We had Rollins ended up heading to the top rope. He ended up hitting a frog splash onto McIntyre. He went for the cover, and McIntyre ended up kicking out. So we had at one point, we had Rollins end up kicking McIntyre in his knee. He ended up super kicking McIntyre. Rollins ended up going for a stomp, but McIntyre moved out of the way. McIntyre then connected with the DDT, and he kicked up. So we had McIntyre end up counting down. He ended up charging for the Claymore kick, but Rollins countered with a sit-out powerbomb, and he ended up going for the cover, to which McIntyre ended up kicking out. So we had Damian Priest. He made his way to the ring, and Dominik was accompanying him, and a referee was there. Dominik ended up gesticulating at ringside. Priest ended up hitting Rollins with the briefcase. Priest ended up going to hand the briefcase over, and McIntyre ended up taking Rollins out with a Claymore kick at ringside. McIntyre then ended up hitting Dominik. So Priest ended up going to hand the briefcase over. McIntyre ended up taking Priest out with the Claymore at ringside. And McIntyre ended up hitting Dominik with an overhead belly suplex on the floor. McIntyre then got into the ring. He ended up hitting Rollins with the Claymore. So McIntyre ended up going for the cover. McIntyre ended up overpulling on Rollins' leg, and Rollins' foot touched the bottom rope. And because of that, the pin was broken. So McIntyre was irate. He ended up throwing Rollins' throat first into the ropes. McIntyre then cleared the commentary table off, and he grabbed Rollins. McIntyre ended up getting Rollins on the table, but Rollins ended up fighting McIntyre. Rollins then ended up hitting the pedigree to McIntyre on the commentary table. Rollins then quickly got McIntyre in the ring, and he ended up hitting McIntyre with a stomp. Rollins then crawled over. He ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Seth Rollins ended up winning the match, retaining the World Heavyweight Championship. So post-match, Rollins was celebrating in the ring. Drew McIntyre was in disbelief at ringside. Damian Priest and Dominik was seated in fury at ringside. And Rollins held up the World Heavyweight Championship. And that was how the first Monday Night Raw of the new year ended up going off the air. But overall, I thought this was a very good match. Rollins and Priest, they were good. That pin when McIntyre ended up hitting Rollins with the Claymore and McIntyre overpulled on the leg, he didn't even see that, McIntyre. So that's when Rollins' foot ended up touching the bottom rope. But overall, it was a very good match. But Monday Night Raw, just a very mediocre show. It was, in my opinion. But anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And I will see you all on Wednesday night for AEW Dynamite, the first Dynamite show of 2024. So see you all Wednesday night.